Okay, here on a Tuesday, let's get it going with Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy in association with our good friends at Yellowhammer News. Here we are, Longshore McKnight, ready to go. How's it going today down there in Troy?
It's going well. One of my favorite events last night. I've been emceeing a lot of stuff lately, and it's been great. The Trojan Tribute Awards last night, where you name the team with the best GPA, you name the leadership awards and stuff like that. It was great. Getting to the end of the academic year now. Getting to the end.
Yeah.
This is about, again, I think for Troy, for instance, the one I'm familiar with, classes end a week from Wednesday, a week from Thursday, something like that. Then you've got dead day, and then you have exams. So if you look at history and personal history down through the years academically, this is about time one of the new boys would say, hey, Longshore, finals are coming up, right? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? All right. Get me the notes to Humanities 301. Get me the Cliff's Notes to the Lord of the Flies, and big cup of coffee. Okay, fine.
Take it from me. Don't depend on the test file up on the third floor of the fraternity house to get you through.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nice help, but it ain't gonna get you through, and you got to have more than that. And boy, Dead Week, it's appropriately named. There was nothing going on. Oh, I couldn't stand Dead Week.
So it's got John's like, what are you doing?
Let's go.
Why can't you?
Yeah.
Why can't you? The Crimson Bucket.
Study. Yeah. Number.
Whoa. You're gonna. It's a beautiful day out here. It's sunshine.
I thought it was a salesman. I couldn't sell a lot of people during Dead Week, but believe it is, Barry. It seems like it ends earlier and earlier. Number 3 child finishes up Friday. He's coming home Friday. I'm thinking, well, has he got a job? But yeah, I'm thinking, wait a minute. It's just it was like March the 10th back when we used to get out. It felt that way, but yeah, his last day's Friday.
See, here's the deal, though. This is the reason why we bring it up. And then you get into summer, and I live in a college town, and I've lived in small college towns just about my entire adult life. And then you get to summer, which is glorious because you can find a park in place and all that. But it also means that, John, the calendar is bringing a couple of things to bear here.
Okay.
I know it's the transfer portal. Transfer portal closed yesterday. Doesn't mean you can't sign with somebody. As a matter of fact, a lot of the people still haven't signed. It means you can't get in anymore. Wherever you have signed, you are in. You can't, you can't change now, because if you decided to stick it out with your school, and all of a sudden this morning you wake up, oh no, it's too late. But obviously you can still sign.
This might be a trick. Well, I wouldn't say a trick question, but maybe you don't know off the top of your head. Are there a lot of players that are in the portal but have not signed?
Oh, heck yeah. Way more than half. As a matter of fact, I think I read this last week from the last transfer portal. They crunched the numbers on football and men's basketball, and something like 63% of the players who entered the portal either didn't sign with anybody, didn't get an offer, and they had to walk on somewhere, I guess, or transferred down a division. If they're FBS, they transferred to FCS. If they FCS, they transferred down to Division II. Way more than half do not have a home right now.
If I am leaving somewhere, I want to know where I'm going. It's like that we've always talked about when people say, oh, you got to fire that coach. He stinks. He's no good. Okay.
Yeah.
Then who's going to hire? Well, I don't care. Just get rid of him.
Anybody but him. I hate it when people say those 3 words, because John and I have dealt with this for many years with coaching changes. Well, who you want to get? I don't care. Anybody but him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't understand about these guys in the portal. If I'm leaving a place where I know I'm getting 3 squares a day, my laundry's getting done, I go lift weights and I got the best medical available. I'm just not one day waking up and say, I'm over this place. Let's see what else is out there.
I'm going to tell the coach I'm gone and burn that bridge.
And
then I'll worry about where I'm going.
And I would have not said, there again, that surprises me. Oh, more than half. I mean, these people, what are they thinking? I mean, you got to know where you're going.
If you don't know where you're going, how you going to know when you get there?
Yeah.
But
that just blows me away.
It's the same thing about the real world. Never quit a job if you don't already have one lined up.
Ding, ding.
I tell you what, you can take this job and you can shove it where the sun doesn't shine. Walk out the door, feel pretty good about it. I told him you're walking out, a little spring in your step.
Mm-hmm.
You get home and you're thinking, man, this is golly, I should have done this a long
time ago. I told him.
You check your mail and there's a bill.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that one's coming.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah, unless you know.
Wait a minute. I told him where to get off, and the bills don't stop, and the mortgage is still there, and my kids' braces, and
that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Mama wants that gift from Marguerite's too, so you got to have a way to pay for it.
Ain't no doubt.
You got to make sure you got your bases covered, and it is somewhat satisfying when they say, "Is there anything we can do to change your mind and get you to stay?" No, I don't think you can. I know somebody that actually said that to somebody that asked them, "Anything we can do to change your mind?" No, I don't think so.
But to get back to the original analogy, then you sit there, all right, like maybe you waited and waited. Yesterday's the last day. Portal closes at whatever it is, 5 Eastern. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go and boom, you put it in there. You hit send. All right, here it is. You get a call from your coach. Hey, what's the deal? I'm just seeing. I'm just checking. All right, you sit back.
So Barry, just there again, I'm curious.
Okay. All right, phone calls. Here we go. All right, let me check my email.
Nothing there. So of the half that don't have a team, and I guess spitballing a number, how many athletes we're talking about? What are they going to do? I mean, are they just going to see there again? It's advantage coaches, advantage team. Right. We'd like to have you, but we'll pay you, I don't know, $50,000. Wait a minute, $50,000? I was making $500,000 over there.
Or what happens as well is a coach will say, yeah, we'll sign you. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. We need a third stringer. We need some guy who can help run the scout team or, just serve as have you ever been on kickoff cover? And all of a sudden you think, wait a minute.
Hey, and Bill brings up
I just lost the competition for the top spot on the depth chart, but the coach said that the competition would go on, into fall camp and everything. And now this guy's saying the best I can do is third string. Yeah, that's also a dash of cold water in the face.
Yeah, and there again, if you're not a blue chip marquee name player, and you're, because there are a lot of these kids in this portal, but I don't know who they are. Right. But the marquee guys are the household names. They're going to land somewhere. These other guys, they're scratching and clawing, hoping they find a home, hoping that's a situation that they're comfortable with, and getting what they think they're worth or what their handlers think they're worth. Bill from Baltimore makes an interesting suggestion. What about scholarship limits? I mean, some of these schools might not have any openings. Are you on scholarship if you transfer? I mean, obviously you were on scholarship but your former place, do you automatically get on scholarship somewhere else?
Well, not automatically, but yeah, you're there until your scholarship lasts until the end of the semester. Yesterday at the Trojan Tribute, there were, and it's all student athlete run. I'm just the MC. There were a couple of student athletes at Troy who have entered the portal and committed elsewhere that were there because they're finishing classes. They've got their scholarship runs to the end of the semester. You do not have to have, to Bill's question, you do not have to have an open scholarship to offer somebody. You can offer them a scholarship, and then later on during the summer, encourage somebody else to,
yeah.
I
think your time's worn thin here. Time to move on.
It's the transfer portal. It's the end coming up of the academic year, which means really a couple of things. The number one thing is probably pretty soon, maybe within a month or just out of a month, it's the Longshore and McKnight, really the Longshore State of the SEC report.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be coming up. Mm-hmm. We'll go over, all right, who did well in, according to John, the real sports.
Yeah.
Who did okay, who did well in some of the secondary sports that John has seen on his TV as he flips through and barely stops. And who is doing well in some of those namby-pamby sports that you make fun of people for even being in.
Yeah.
And you tally them all up and you, good job, Auburn, with your equestrian.
Wait a minute. You're telling me the women's tennis team counts just as much as the football? Wait a minute. Who's tallying this up?
All part and parcel of the State of the SEC report.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I've noticed some records of a couple of schools in spring sports, and it kind of, I went, whoa, really? I would have thought it would have been a little bit better than that, but they're still going to postseason. Obviously, it doesn't take a lot to make postseason, but I wanted to kind of go over that here in just a moment.
Yeah.
But also, Barry, in about a month, it is the look ahead to what's going to happen in the next 12 months in the world of sports and a couple of other selected topics as well.
Prediction time.
Yeah. Robbie, absolutely. Get ready. Get your legal pad out so you can write them all down and call me on it. But we'll go over the predictions from last year, which is always the Friday before Memorial Day. We'll see how many of those hit.
Right.
And how many maybe were close. And then we'll go over what we think will happen over the next 12 months in the world of sport and some other areas as well.
We are ready. Also, during the summer, I have forwarded John his.
Oh, yeah. Got it right here.
I've got mine.
Yep.
These are the fabled helmet schedules.
Mm-hmm.
If you want one, just somebody put it in the chat room. I'll see if I can scare up the URL. So you guys can get yours, but I just made sure John got his, so it doesn't have tons of his multicolored pens on it. The highlighters haven't hit it yet because he's not just flipping through this while he's waiting for the dryer to finish or something like that. He's got to, unplug the phone, lock the doors, send everybody off, and he's got to crunch.
This is good for planning purposes.
Oh, yeah.
I like how it's laid out in the grid format. I can see here week 3, Alabama has an off weekend. Auburn week 4. Auburn's at Oklahoma. So, hey, that's my daughter and my son's birthday. That weekend, boom, great. I can do that. It's awesome. November 1st. Oh, yeah, another off weekend. Sure, perfect. Sounds great. So it's great for planning.
Taking on Kentucky. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No problem. Sounds like a good time. So love the helmet schedule. It just seems easier to kind of get a good picture in your mind of what the fall's going to look like. So whoever came up with the helmet schedules with the little logos and designs on them, I am all over that. Getty, the others will show about John and Barry night at the Biscuits. Well, since we're no longer affiliated with our former employer, I'm not even sure they even have a suite anymore. If I had to guess, I'd say they didn't. So we don't have a suite to host everybody in, but I'm sure somebody would love it. Let us use theirs.
Yep.
For a John and Barry night, but
Not
I don't know, Barry, is the statute of limitations run out? Because I think the last time we were there, things got a little out of hand.
Well, several of our late great fans, Tammy, who's no longer with us, tragically, but
producer Trent,
producer Trent,
Mrs. United. Tammy? I think Mrs. United is still around, but I hadn't seen her in a while.
Yeah, come on, Mrs. United. Miss that lady. But you got, what was it? What was it? Tammy from up in our suite
with Charles from Reeltown.
With Charles from Reeltown, she was screaming profanities at the first base umpire
and rooting for the Barons.
Yeah, she was rooting for the Barons because they were leading. She did not want any comebacks and send it to extra innings. John got behind that particular thing there. So, yeah.
I don't think it was a good idea to have an open bar that night.
No.
That was that. We learned our lesson on that one.
Yeah.
But that was fun. I think we gave the keys to Doc NBA and asked him to close the door and lock the suite for us, if I remember.
Him?
Yeah.
Lock it?
That was probably not.
He was going to be the last one out anyway, so why not? Yeah, that's probably a good point.
All right, Barry, in about 15 minutes, Bryan Matthews, AuburnSports.com will join us. We'll check in on the Tigers. Top of the next hour, Travis Reier on YouTube, talking Tide. A lot of other things going on today as well. The Phantoms Daily Dog, Gurn Jr.'s Victoryland 777 topic wheel today. But when we come back, Barry, some spring sports. I got to get a little update on spring sports. Maybe we've kind of overlooked them due to the draft and spring football, and, of course, with basketball being big time in early March. But there's some spring sports I got some questions about.
Yeah, we've got that coming up. And if you check right now on the chat line presented by River Region Straw, we've got your link up for your SEC helmet schedule for 2025.
Beautiful.
We aim to please. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Okay, about 19 minutes past the hour here on a Tuesday. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy, in association with our good friends at Yellowhammer News. You can check us out at yellowhammernews.com. Video content. Also, we'll write up each and every day about the show. So check that out, yellowhammernews.com. We're also on Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, Spotify, you name it. You can find us. And we really appreciate everybody hitting that like button and the subscribe button. All right, so spring sports, and I got to give credit where credit is due. Yes, did get up and have coffee with Philip today, and I'm perusing around with all his articles. He starts out with Chad Baker Mazzara, and I'm thinking, you ought to be glad the guy's gone. I mean, I thought the guy was just a train wreck. Whether he can play basketball or not, I don't think he was good in the locker room, and I've heard some stories about Mazzara, so what? Good riddance. Be done with it. Whether his daddy and his uncle wanted more money, maybe he'll get it at Southern Cal. Who knows?
But, like Philip said, he's 26 years old. He didn't have to do what his father told him to do,
Yeah.
Told his agent, no, I'm not leaving Auburn. I like Auburn. 26 years old. And has got one more year. He's, according to Philip, and I quote, apparently he agreed on a deal to make more than $1 million next season at Auburn. The rub came when a transfer coming in got more. Auburn signed a new player or got a commitment out of the transfer portal from a new player, and he found out that player was going to get more. And so evidently Philip is surmising that Chad says, hey, what's the deal? I mean, I played on a SEC champion team and da-da-da and everything. Well, we've given you what we agreed to give you. I don't know if he's getting any more at USC, but this is the kind of stuff we're talking about. I don't think Chad Baker Mazzara is an NBA player. I do think he is feeling some pressure that, man, I got to make it while I can. I hope he has a wonderful career. I hope he has a fulfilling adult life. I don't think it's in basketball. And I believe he thinks it's not going to be in basketball for much longer, unless he plays in Finland or someplace like that. So he's got to get it while he can. I mean, he's 26, and in a couple of years, if he is an entry-level trainee in the stocks and commodities field, he's not going to start at $1 million.
Probably not.
So,
probably not. But what really gets me, I just don't, I got to admit, don't really follow this closely. Obviously, strength of schedule has a lot to do with postseason. We know that in basketball. Maybe RPI does as well. I did not realize the Lady Aub softball team was 6-18 in SEC play, and the men's baseball team 11-10 in SEC play. But obviously, strength of schedule takes you a long way when it comes to postseason, because Philip tells us they're both going to be in the postseason.
Heck, for Auburn baseball, which I've been following. Troy has played them. They're talking about Auburn being a regional host.
I'm thinking, what's it take? Strength of schedule. Just pad your schedule with a lot of toughies.
Well, Auburn, I think, is number 11 in the country. I mean, they're rated number 11 in the country in the rankings. They are 30. No. They are right now tied for ninth at 11-10 in the league, but they're 30-14 overall. Their strength of schedule, their RPI is 4th in the country. The top 5 RPIs in the country are from the SEC. Texas 1, Georgia 2, Vanderbilt 3, Auburn 4, Arkansas 5, Alabama's 14. Strength of schedule gets you a lot. So Auburn in a tie for 9th. Alabama's in a tie for 5th. They're just a game ahead of Auburn. They are 35-10.
Whew.
This is what a meat grinder the SEC is. 35-10 is amazing. And they've won 5 games in a row up in Tuscaloosa. But the 12-9 in the league.
So is it just a bigger advantage to have a very difficult schedule? The numbers might not look great at the end of the regular season, but if you got a strong strength of schedule and RPI is good enough, you're going to make the postseason?
Evidently so. I don't know. I don't want to post like I'm sure everything how it works, but I know RPI is huge. You're playing an incredibly tough schedule in the SEC anyway. Incredibly tough. Do you want to load it up with big non-conference games? If you've paid attention, Auburn has, Alabama has. They played tremendous non-conference games. Now, the SEC, here's what I look at in baseball. Florida last year played for the College World Series championship. They are 8-13 in the SEC this year. 4 years ago, Mississippi State won the national championship.
Just fired their coach.
They just fired their coach because they're only 25-19. Now, South Carolina has been a habitual power under Ray Tanner. They won back-to-back championships a while back. But their coach, Paul Mainieri, won a national championship at LSU. South Carolina is 5-16. And then you got Missouri. 0-21 in the SEC.
What's the problem over there?
21. They're in Missouri. You know, how many people are going to come to Columbia, Missouri to play baseball anyway? But now
wait a minute.
Your brains beat in by Texas and Arkansas and blah, blah,
I think
blah.
I've said the same thing about another school in this league. Why would you go there?
But at the top of the league, another thing that John has brought up, you look at spring sports. And at the top of the league in the SEC in baseball, the Texas Longhorns. Ranked number 1 in the country, ranked number 1 in RPI. They're first in the SEC. They've won 9 games in a row. They are 37-5.
Didn't their coach used to be at A&M and said, you know, it's been fun over here, but I'm going over to the school in this
Jim
state.
Schlossnagle.
I'm going to leave you little
yes.
alphabet school alone, and I'm going over to the state university. You know, there's another fan base that sometimes thinks the same way. Refers to themselves as the university.
You look on the other side in softball. Texas is 4th in the league. Their RPI is 10. Softball's pretty strong too. Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Tennessee, all really good in softball. The Auburn Tigers, John's right, 6-18 in
How
the
in
SEC.
the world has Philip sat through all of those losses in the Jane B. Moore press box?
Well, some of them have been on the road.
And his knees hitting the console there.
And skinning his knees over and over.
So, Barry, Texas really, I mean, there again, I don't know what they're doing in swimming and whatnot, but, basketball, if they could just kind of get that in the right place, man, every one of their sports would be in good shape, it sounds like.
And they'll get that fixed. They'll get that figured out.
I mean, let's think about it. SEC fans, did you really want Texas in the league? Money, winning, prestige, panache, cachet. I could go on and on. But Texas, are they the new big boy in the SEC?
Well, I can tell you this. You mentioned, I don't know how they're doing in swimming and diving. That's for later on, I guess, when we get our state of the SEC and everything. But they are the national champions in men's swimming and diving.
Oh, boy, folks.
That championship in swimming and diving for the Texas men gives the University of Texas 10 straight academic years with at least one national championship.
Barry, I'll think back to that afternoon at the Winfrey Hotel in Hoover at SEC Media Days, and the buzz was growing about, hey, man, I hear Texas and Oklahoma are coming into the SEC. No way, really? Oh, wow, that is awesome. Yeah, they're going to make the announcement later today. Everybody was a buzz excited. I was too. Are we having buyer's remorse? Are we still excited about Texas? I mean, Oklahoma, yeah, okay, whatever. But
see, that was the thing. That was the thing. You know, I wasn't there at that one, but I remember all of the people that I talked to and everything. Texas and Oklahoma joined the SEC. How do those people in Norman feel? Hey, anybody want to interview us? Yeah, in about a week. Now, Texas, we'd like to talk with you. And hey, we're Oklahoma. We won national championship. Yeah, sure. The Longhorns. How do you guys feel? You know, it was.
I wonder if other schools, and I thought that at one time, are there going to be other schools down the road that are going to think, I'm not so sure I like Texas in the league. Kind of liked it how it
when
was.
They're winning things all over the place.
Well, ask Bryan Matthews, get his thoughts about that, along with everything Auburn when we return here on this Tuesday edition.
Yep, speaking of winning, Bryan Matthews joins us in moments in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Ford announces employee pricing on every new 24 and most new 25 Fords, and only at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, up to $5,000 below employee pricing, plus no payments for 90 days. From America, for America, at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, home of America's best-selling truck for nearly 50 years in a row, the F-150, with hundreds to choose from. The Ford Escape, the Ford Edge, and the Ford Bronco, all priced at thousands below invoice. And pack up the crew in a Ford Expedition or a Ford Explorer for the beach, the lake, or the big game. It's all at Stivers Ford in Montgomery, where price sells cars.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Okay, back at it here, about 27 minutes to the top of the hour. Our man, Bryan Matthews, auburnsports.com, joining us as he does each and every Tuesday. Bryan, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Good morning.
Let me check that hat. Can you lean your head forward just a little?
There you go. We're
okay,
safe.
All right. Just making sure.
See, they get a little
I thought it was the
streak.
end of days here for a moment.
Braves are fighting back, getting close to 500, so, you know.
Yeah.
Feasting on the worst team in Major League Baseball this week, I see. The Colorado Rockies.
Whatever it takes, yep.
Whatever it takes. You're right about that.
Always check Bryan's content, well, everybody's content, at auburnsports.com, particularly on Monday morning. I'm all into.
Be careful when you're Googling that content, though. You don't, you know.
Yes. Now, I noticed in yesterday's BMAT's Monday Musings, you use the phrases reign of destruction and stench of his ineptitude, in saying that it finally seems, now that this NFL draft is over with, that Bryan Harsin's reign of destruction is over, but the stench of his ineptitude still had left a cloud over the program. and it's reflected by the NFL draft. Can you expand a little bit on stench of ineptitude and reign of ineptitude, a reign of destruction and stench of ineptitude, Bryan? That sounds like a couple of album titles.
How do you really feel about it?
The Police, those two albums are my favorite Police albums, but I actually edited that down to make it not so mean. Believe it or not, it was even worse before. I mean, he just totally blew it. Right, he dropped the ball recruiting wise, dropped the ball building relationships within the state, really set Auburn's programs back. And I think this last draft was another indication of what Auburn's program had become in the last year or so. And I guess Malzahn, those 2 years under Brian Harsin, the talent deficit had just increased dramatically between Auburn and the best teams in the school. Auburn has now gone 5 years without a first-round pick. The only other team in the SEC that's done that is Vanderbilt, and that's really not the company you want to be keeping if you're Auburn football, a program that wants to compete at the top of the SEC. So, but I did mark this draft as the end of it, right? There's no more reasons for Harsin or Malzahn to have any more detrimental effect on Auburn's program anymore. It's time to move on. That cloud is dissipated. This will be year 3 under Hugh Freeze. It's time to start taking steps forward with this program and start winning some football games.
You know, Bryan, years ago, I would always hear people say, well, if you don't sign the top high school athletes, football players in particular, you're not going to win championships. I kind of went, yeah, whatever, but I see how that played out. You can say the same thing in my mind with NFL draft choices. You look at the teams that have been in the playoff, played for the national championship, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, Oregon, the ones that were in the playoff last year, they had the most draft choices in last week's draft.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not using this as a diss, but Nick Saban didn't sprinkle magic dust all of these players and send them to the NFL. He recruited great players.
No doubt.
To do that. That was the secret sauce to his success, in addition to being a great coach at everything else he did at Alabama. I do think those days of being able to stack your roster with top 5 or top 3 class after top 3 class after top 3 class are over in some respects, because I think when you do that, you produce a lot of top 100, 4-star, 5-star backups. And a lot of those kids now are saying, well, I can get a bigger check and I can get a starting job if I go somewhere else. So I do think the transfer portal is spreading that talent out more. And that's why you got to supplement your team through the transfer portal the other way, helping yourself out. And, Georgia, Alabama, and those teams, Ohio State, are doing that too. Clemson is the one team that really missed the boat on that. And you've seen them struggle the last few years as far as competing at the very, very top of the NCAA. So I think it's part of the process now. That's another thing really where Auburn fell short of in Freeze's first 2 years, because he was used to doing the one way, basically the Nick Saban way, because he's the one that really set the standard. That doesn't work anymore either. And he went out and got Will Redmond, and Auburn did a much better job in the portal this past go around.
So are you prophesying, Bryan, that the 5-year drought of a first-round draft pick ends next year?
I think there's a better chance of that. Keldrick Falk, should he declare, should he have the season that everybody's thinking he will, is already being projected. I looked at least 3 other places as a top 10 type pick. I know PFF had him and Eric Singleton, the Georgia Tech wide receiver transfer, as first-round picks, and that's early. We don't know what's going to happen, 11 months from now, whatever. But and then you look at Auburn's, I guess it was the 2024 class, the one with Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson, all those good receivers, Amaris Williams, all those good defensive linemen. That class, not next year, but the next year will be, draft eligible. And I think that class has got some guys that could be first-round picks. So I think the end of that drought is coming, although I can't, make any promises or say exactly when it is.
And I got to think, Bryan, that it makes it a little easier when you go into a recruit's home and say, look how many guys we put in the draft, or look how many guys went in the first round. I mean, that's got to be kind of a feather in your cap. And I'm sure Coach Freeze and this staff are hoping that happens in 26 to kind of use that to their advantage.
Well, I'd go back to Alabama again. When you looked at their marketing over the last
Yeah.
15 years on social media, or whenever social media started, maybe it has it been that long? Probably close to it. Almost immediately after the draft, and almost always during recruiting season, they're putting out information about how many draft picks, how many number 1 draft picks Nick Saban has had in his time at Alabama.
You know, I don't know
it's
if
like
other
a circle; it just builds on each other.
Yeah, I don't know if other schools do this, but Barry and I've talked about it numerous times. And one thing Nick Saban did early, the first time out in the first quarter of a home game, they would play this video clip of, let's take a look at former Alabama players and what they did in the NFL last week. And they play this 2-minute clip, and all these recruits are sitting there going, wow, wait a minute, that could be me.
Yep. And I think it's still a very good recruiting tool saying, come to this school, we produce this many NFL players.
Yeah.
Even though I personally know it's because you're signing these great players think they can go there and then grab a little bit of an edge. And perhaps back in the day there was an edge. When you've got a 5-star being a second stringer and you're having to compete with those guys to move up, that's a level of competition that not many schools had during that time.
Well, it also helps. And I was throwing popcorn at the screen in the first round of the NFL draft when everybody who's getting drafted, Saban says, I want y'all to know he was our plan B at Alabama. We recruited him. Or, whenever he came to visit for Alabama, I'm thinking, come on now.
Or we tried to get him in the portal, and that kid was not in the portal. So, yeah. You got to do what it takes.
Yeah.
You got to do what it takes.
Yep. Let me ask you about this. Now that the portal closed on Friday, Terrence Love, C.J. Johnson, J.C. Hart leave, the offensive lineman, Braden Joyner.
Yep.
Any one of those either A, a surprise to the coaching staff, or B, a catastrophic loss to the team?
I would say Braden Joyner would be the only one they might have fought a little bit to keep. He started some games at guard last year, probably going to be the backup center, but I think he was on track to be a starting center whenever Connor Lew decided to move on. So, but that is one where he didn't want to be that backup. He had a chance to go to Purdue, get a bigger paycheck, and be a starter right away. So that's what he did, and I think that's part of college football now. I think everybody's okay with what happened. I don't think Auburn's feeling terrible about it, but I think Braden Joyner did what's best for him and his family. So. And that's going to happen every single round of transfer portals. I think it's going to happen at a lot of different schools.
Barry and I were talking about it earlier today, Brian. I don't know the total number, but there are a lot of them out there that enter the transfer portal that have yet to find a home. Yeah. I just couldn't imagine doing that. I mean, if I'm leaving, I got to know where I'm going. I'm just not jumping out there and go, okay, here I am. Come get me.
But the way the world works, the way it's supposed to work, you're not supposed to be in contact with anybody else to know until you get in the transfer.
That's why we have player agents now, right? Because it's not like these coaches enter the portal and hoping that this school's going to hire them, right? We know how that works with college coaches moving around. Yeah. So I don't know where all this is going. I know. I think the transfer portal is the one area that I think frustrates the fans the most.
Ooh.
But I don't care what NCAA proposes or passes rules. I don't think it gets fixed until they collectively bargain it away, which means you have to make players some form of employees. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way too, Brian. I mean, at first I wasn't so keen on it, but I think that's the only way you can make it work. And it'd be kind of fair for everybody out there. I don't know. We'll see where that plays out.
I'm looking, I looked yesterday and don't recall it now, but I was looking last week at D1Baseball.com's postseason projections. I was looking at Troy, and I have seen before in other projections that Troy is projected to go to like the Tallahassee regional. One of them projected that would go to a regional hosted by Auburn. Auburn is 11-10 in SEC play. Nice. Their RPI is really, really good. And they win 2 out of 3 against Mississippi State over the weekend. Mississippi State fires the coach. Catch us up a little bit on Auburn baseball as we get closer to the conference tournament and to postseason.
Yeah, Auburn is 4th in RPI, and the NCAA uses that metric as part of their process of choosing host sites and choosing the 64-team field, I guess it is. So that's a big plus for them right now. They have the toughest schedule so far in the country. Strength of schedule, so you think that RPI is going to stay pretty high no matter what happens these last 11 games, 9 conference games, 2 non-conference games left. So I think Auburn has positioned itself. I do think it probably needs 14, 15 wins, 16 maybe, just to get there and secure that host site. But I think because the SEC is so strong, there's 16 first-round host sites. There's going to be a lot of baseball played in the postseason down here in the Southeastern Conference.
They got
yeah, go ahead.
They got Samford tonight at the Hoover Met. Yep. What's the identity of this Auburn team?
Well,
what's good? What's driving their success?
Well, Samuel Dutton's been terrific Friday night. They finally found a Friday night guy. He's 3rd, I think, in the SEC or 2nd, and ERA has been even better at home, but he gives them a chance to win just about every game they play on Friday against a good SEC quality starter and opponent. I felt all season that this lineup was going to be good. You saw that against Mississippi State. They batted over 300 in that series. They showed a lot more power than they have. So maybe that's the start of something. We'll see. I don't think one series is a trend yet, but it did get the Mississippi State coach fired. So that was tough for him, I guess. But I still think they're trying to figure some things out with this pitching staff. I still think this Auburn team has some levels they can reach if they can, push themselves and start putting it all together. We'll see if they can do that at some point.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting postseason, to say the least. And the competition in the SEC is just, they're against strength of schedule, RPI, such a big part of it. Before we got you on, Brian, we were talking a little bit about Texas. Their athletic department really doing well. Men's basketball, not where it wants to be, but it looks like that they've made a move to try to improve that. Your thoughts about having Texas in the league? I mean, I wonder how other schools think about it. They just kind of waltzing in, kind of dominating, not missing a stride, really maybe being in a better position before where they are today before they even entered the league. They got a lot of money, got a lot of pull. Looking back on it, was Texas, I mean, I know they're bringing a lot of money, but I wonder how all the other schools in the league feel about Texas.
Well, whenever I think about Texas coming in, I think about Texas A&M, which had, a decade head start and absolutely blew it, right? They had all the money. They got great facilities. They had these years to sell, come play in the SEC. And, they had some ups and downs, but they just really didn't get it done. And Texas, went through some periods where they weren't that good in some sports, but they've got it together now, and they're really good in everything they do. And if they're not good, they fire the coach and go hire a new one pretty quickly, right?
Yeah.
So, that is just, I mean, they're running away with the SEC baseball title right now. And this is the best conference by far. And it's not like SEC basketball where it just became that, right? It's been that for a long, long time. LSU, Tennessee, Mississippi State, all these great teams. And Texas is just running away with it right now. So, credit to them and their program, right? They've invested a lot of money in it. They're not afraid to spend it. It all goes back to hiring the right coaches and having enough money, now to secure rosters through NIL.
And I just, one thing I think really people don't admit it or don't want to say it, but I just think having Texas in the league makes it more difficult for everybody else in the league.
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm for getting rid of the SEC championship game. If 3 teams tie at the top of the SEC in football, give out 3 trophies and call them all SEC champions like we did back in the 1980s before we split up in East and West. So, I mean, I think the SEC, I mean, you got, is it 16 teams now? That's a lot of teams. I mean, I'm not trying to, if you look at Auburn, which is, a pretty good program, how many SEC championships are they going to win in any sport over the next 4 or 5 years right now?
And they could be really, really, really,
good.
really
good.
good.
Golf is really good, of course, right now. There's some other sports that are really good at Auburn, but it's tough. It's tough.
Well, we quite a bit on this program. John is a golfer, and the movie Caddyshack really resonated with him. Now,
classic.
I worked at an FM radio station, FM radio stations, plural, many of them, not in 1978 when I was still a kid. And when the movie FM came out 47 years ago, but I'll submit to you, that movie had FM radio right. I mean, that I can tell you from personal experience and in my career, that's the way it really was working at an FM radio station.
Well, and the movie bomb, but look at the cast: Michael Brandon, Alex Karras, Martin Mull, Ellen Brennan. So I mean, and you had some stars like Linda Ronstadt, Tom Petty, Jimmy Buffett in it. So
yeah.
But
I'm surprised, Brian. The movie only made $32.6 million. Grease was the top grossing movie that year, making over 900. And I remember the movie, and the soundtrack was phenomenal.
Yeah,
it was great. Kids, check it out. Yes,
it's really incredible. And back in the day when you didn't have streaming and stuff, you had to buy these soundtracks or buy the whole albums if you wanted to listen to these songs. But incredible. Tom Petty's Breakdown, Eagles, Life in the Fast Lane,
Joe Walsh,
Night Moves. Yep, it's just incredible. Billy
Joe
Joel.
Walsh, Life's Been Good to Me.
Yep.
Yes. Well, I forgot about this. I had not watched it in a long time, but I'm telling you, it has nailed what working in FM radio was like in the 70s and 80s. Other than his turn as Webster's father and his immortal turn as Mongo in Blazing Saddles, where Mongo just pawned in Game of Life, I had forgotten Alex Karras was a DJ in FM, the former Detroit Lion Hall of Famer. Good stuff. That one was they're always good, but this BMAT's Monday Musings musical journey 47 years ago to the release of FM.
Getting old.
Monday Musings brought to you by Uncle Keith's Red Sauce, which Brian can hook you up with a discount code. It's awesome.
Yeah, BMAT 15 if you want to order online, but you can go, if you live in the state of Alabama, you can go to Publix, Piggly Wiggly, Renfro's, and try it out. Homegrown, supporting an in-state business. Very, very delicious and fresh. Give it a try.
It's great stuff, Brian. Thank you so much, my friend. We appreciate it. We'll look forward to talking to you next week.
Thank you, guys, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Oh, that was a good. BMAT's Monday Musings was on target.
Oh, yeah. And I remember when FM came out. I mean, I was like junior high school or something.
Yeah.
But, that was it was kind of I don't want to say a cult movie. I mean,
it really kind of was, though. I mean, I know you don't want to say it because you're always worried about offending people and hurting feelings and stuff, but it really was. I mean, nobody's going to spend a lot of time watching a movie about people sitting around listening to music.
The movie made $32 million. It probably didn't cost $2 million to make it.
and I would have to think that about half the budget was getting the music, getting the music rights and getting it written and all that kind of stuff.
The movie, The Breakfast Club.
Michael Brandon and Eileen Brennan and Alex Karras to star in your movie.
Yeah.
Probably didn't cost all that.
It didn't cost a lot. The movie, The Breakfast Club.
Yep.
With all those teenage movie stars.
Yep.
That movie could not have cost anything because the whole movie was set in a school.
Yeah.
On a Saturday, and nobody was there.
Yep, they're in the library 90% of the time, except for the time whenever they break out and go in the ceiling, and then go run down the hall. And at the very end, where John Bender walks across the football field and goes this right at the very end. Oh, great movie! Great movie.
Oh yeah. All right, need to take a break. Let's do that. Regroup. Got several things on the list we're going to get to here today. Travis Reier of Reier on YouTube talking Tide in about 7 minutes.
Yes, it's coming up. Great stuff from Bryan Matthews in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Here we are at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Our friend, everybody's friend, Mary Ann is with us. Mary Ann, April is a special month, even more special at Marguerite's.
Definitely. Okay, so it's the first of the month, Barry. What's that birthstone?
It's a diamond, right?
Yes. Winner. It's easy to remember because with April comes baseball season, baseball diamond. We've got Diamond Month here at Marguerite's, and it is a great time. We are having Diamond Month to really emphasize all the great diamonds we have in stock. We're doing crazy specials on natural as well as lab created diamonds with solitaire specials starting out at, this is crazy to believe, $500 for a lab created diamond solitaire. That's insane. Like a 1 carat inner ring. We have diamond studs, diamond tennis necklaces, tennis bracelets. Everything with our diamonds are going to be unmatched, unparalleled prices. And loose stones, again, maybe because it is baseball season and you're watching all of those games that you need to give a little extra something, or that girlfriend that you've been dating for a while needs to get an engagement ring. Well, now is definitely the time to do it because our loose diamonds are on special.
Yeah, if you are thinking about an engagement, here's a pro tip. That may be Marianne's favorite thing to do at Marguerite's, is to help the guys make sure their odds are good with a beautiful diamond for that loved one that they're going to pop the question to, right?
Most definitely. It's great to help. We love helping you. The hardest thing you have to do is walk through the door. Next thing, I mean, honestly, you just say, I need to get engaged. Or between the two of us or the rest of these listeners, I can tell when a guy walks through. They kind of just have that look and they're just walking slow and looking around. And I'm like, need an engagement ring? And they just shake their head. I take it from there. Just get some ideas. White gold, yellow gold, diamonds. We have them. Guys, it's not hard. Honestly, just walk through the door. We can help you.
Yeah, it's not intimidating at all. They have people who would love to help, especially in Diamond Month in April in Marguerite's. Yes. Marianne, as always, it's so great to talk with you. What are the hours of operation?
Sure. We're open 7 days a week in the Pepper Tree Shopping Center, 10 to 5:30, Monday through Friday, 10 to 5 on Saturday, and noon to 5 on Sunday.
Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, Pepper Tree Center, next to Chappie's Deli, 8163 Vaughn Road in Montgomery. Thanks very much, Marianne. Great to see you.
Great to see you, too.
All right, hang on.
Back
we're about to get back on the air. I'll tell John to tell the Phantom. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll let him know. Okay. Yeah. It's coming up in just a minute. Got to go. Yeah. The Phantom. I don't know what his dog of the day is. Hang on. It'll come up in a little bit. I got to go. Bye. Sorry. Oh man. I'm telling you, my phone is ringing off the hook today.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it.
Well, Phantom. Dog of the day comes up, always comes up right at about, depending on guests and activity and stuff, right at about between the 20-minute or the 30-minute mark of the second hour. We've had a lot of people saying, hey, give the Phantom our best, will you? Okay. Yeah.
Yes, really appreciate that. So we'll get into that. No wine before it's time, as they say. Bo, chats, comes in on our River Registrar chat line. Bo over at Bo Evans Realty, great guy. Bo, thank you for participating and letting us know. Yeah, I remember Tom Petty and Linda Ronstadt being in FM. I do not remember Jimmy Button. I hadn't seen that movie in, gee whiz,
it's been a long time for me. Yeah,
but I don't remember Jimmy Buffett's role in the movie.
It was, he had a song in there. Joe Walsh, Life's Been Good to Me. I think We Will Rock You from Queen was in there as well. The music rights must have been.
Oh yeah.
Life in the Fast Lane from the Eagles was in that one as well. But it was mostly Steely Dan, which is an acquired taste. Not everybody loves
I'm with
Steely
you.
Dan.
When I saw the Eagles, Steely Dan opened up for them.
Yeah.
And I went, some of the stuff I knew, some of it, but it was all sounded the same. I mean, nothing ever got you out of your seat, wanted you to, you didn't want to stand up and
they
move a little bit.
Alabama the Crimson.
He didn't even play that. He did not even play that song. The time that I saw him opening up.
You must not have been in Alabama because they're not
in New Orleans. Yeah, it was in New Orleans. I thinking,
okay.
What's up with that? Yeah.
Well, just kind of catching everybody up, getting a lot of positive reaction to the Phantom's dog of the day, but we got to save that for later.
Well, I will say this, Barry, but since you bring it up, we won't release it just yet.
No.
But I watched bits and pieces of the games yesterday. It is the playoffs, and I know it's an acquired taste. I get it. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell everybody and force feed you NBA basketball. I get it. I don't really like it much in the regular season either. I mean, I'm not as interested in it, but I have found it more entertaining in the postseason. And Joey wasn't the first person to bring up the fact that, hey, my old man says you guys don't play till the postseason. I noticed that about the same time Joey did.
Well, probably about the same time that Captain Over noticed that Scraps was a boy dog.
Yeah. Or you ever been to a Roman prison? Turkish
do you like movies with gladiators?
Yeah, stuff like that. But they have ramped it up a little bit. And you mentioned yesterday, and I got to tell you, I don't know if a mandate came down from the league office, but I do like the physical play. I just got to tell you. Now, I don't want an all-out fight breaking out. I mean, every now and then it's not bad. I just don't want one every night.
Travis Reier joins us now from Reier on YouTube. Now there's another Travis in town down in Jacksonville. Travis, how you doing?
Yeah, I'd like to welcome the other Travis to Duval. Take this opportunity, and he's doing some house shopping, which, hey, we may not be, from what I understand, we may not be all that far apart. We might be neighbors at some point in the future. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Man. So you mentioned Duval. I noticed on his hat that they gave him. Is that kind of the slogan down there? Do they refer to it as Duval instead of, or in conjunction with Jacksonville?
It's Duval County. So, it's definitely a thing. And the official Duval has 3 U's in it, so you get the Duval. Not the Liam Cohen Duval. No.
Yeah. And not the former Auburn place kicker punter Damon Duval. That just has just one U. Do you like that? No. Do you like what they had to do to get that pick? Do you like what they had to give up to get that pick? What about the draft as a whole for the Jaguars?
Yeah, it was interesting because, I thought the Jags might trade back and go back somewhere in the mid-teens if they could get, a bounty of 2025 picks. Not so much 2026, but because of the depth of this draft, this might have been a good one to have, extra 3rd, 4th round type picks. But they did go up. And it felt like maybe they just thought that Travis Hunter is one of the few missing pieces for them to be right back into the playoffs. It was interesting because I wasn't quite sure by the time the draft rolled around what the new regime viewed him more as, wide receiver or corner. But apparently they see him first as a wide receiver, which makes that move more sensible because they're going to do everything they can with $50 million a year in Trevor Lawrence to try to get him to where he needs to be, or at least as close as he can be. So it gives them another weapon to go along with Brian Thomas Jr., an excellent pick from last year in the 1st round.
Yes.
But I thought they might trade back and go interior OL, maybe for a guy like Tyler Booker. They did give up a good bit. They gave up a 1st in 2026 to move up 3 spots. So it wasn't cheap.
Travis, I was amazed how all the talking heads were so opinionated about teams passing on Shedeur Sanders. I find it very hard to believe that all 32 teams got together and conspired not to draft him. What are your thoughts? Why did he go so late?
Just felt like maybe Team Sanders overestimated Shedeur's place or his value to NFL teams before the process even had a chance to get underway. We were hearing stuff about his draft process, a year or two ago. So obviously those two did not intersect in terms of where the Sanders thought Shedeur ranked on draft boards and how they could navigate or sort of try to control the process, or at least navigate it in a way that they felt like was very best for themselves. But really, if you listened or you were able to get some feedback, both these quarterbacks, Cam Ward, who did go number one, and Shedeur Sanders, they weren't really that close. Like, I know one AFC club had Cam Ward as a legitimate, sort of top of the board guy overall, whereas it wasn't the case as much with Shedeur Sanders. So process, navigation, and just really kind of where he stacked up in terms of projection as an impact guy in the NFL as behind center, apparently just didn't meet up. No, I don't buy into the collusion and all those things. But if you do try to control the process and you try to dictate the process, and you're also viewed as a sort of middling quarterback prospect, you're probably going to end up going in the 5th round.
Speaking of middling quarterback prospects, does Jalen Milroe going late 3rd round, does that feel about right to you?
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I thought maybe mid-rounds for Jalen throughout this process. I know there was some buzz and those type of things about maybe finding his way into the 1st round. That obviously did not happen. I think there's a couple of different vantage points as to whether or not he went to a good spot, more so than when he went, where he went.
Right.
With Seattle and the changes they're going through at quarterback there. Sam Darnold coming in is obviously the starter after the good season with the Vikings last season. But I don't think it's the worst spot for Jalen. They're going to have enough. They're going to have enough invested in you to at least spend some time trying to develop you. It's not a fight for survival for him right out of the gates like it's going to be for some of these late round quarterbacks that got picked. So it feels like the Seahawks have a plan, at least a partial plan for him. Now, going 3rd round, does that make him a guy that ultimately they're going to change the way they play the game for? I don't know. That's probably where the evaluation process for him will continue on upon his arrival, and then they'll get a better feel for that. But, they can do some different things with Jalen too. Sam Darnold certainly isn't going to be a run option maybe in some goal line or some short yardage or some different things, which maybe they can do that with Jalen earlier on.
Could you see him maybe in a Taysom Hill role?
I could see him in that. Part of that too is the players got to really embrace it.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill was good in that role, but Taysom Hill was all in on it. He's always just been that guy. And not, believe it or not, even though for these guys it's their livelihood, there's still some instances where guys are just like, it's not really what I'm thinking here. But I haven't detected really anything from Jalen that would say he wouldn't be open to it. But there's being open to it, and then there's being all in with it.
Yeah.
And Hill has kind of exuded that as much as anyone in that role we've ever seen.
Elsewhere, in terms of Alabama's personnel in outgoing in the NFL draft and outgoing in the transfer portal closed on Friday. Not a lot left, not any left. Alabama. John has made the point before that obviously that must mean that there's a lot of happy players, but it also seems to me, and John has said this as well, there also got to be a lot of coaches out there pretty happy with their roster now after spring.
Yeah, and look, they did lose some players after the season.
Yeah,
so
right. Yeah.
there's a couple windows you're working through here. But sure, I think to kind of understand where the roster was going into spring football and to think that they would kind of come out of that to this point intact and actually adding, especially at the tight end position, I think it's been best case scenario, not only with the portal, but I know there's this narrative, well, they only had 7 guys drafted. I take that to be a good thing for the 2025 team too, because I think it speaks to how many guys you do have coming back. You know, they had some guys that were draft eligible that could have left. Now, were they going to be high round picks? Probably not. But Tim Keenan, you know, coming back, Deontay Lawson coming back, Keon Sabb coming back, Jeremy Bernard coming back. You know, I thought it was interesting too with the draft. Alabama's 7 players that were drafted were all recruited guys by Alabama, and I think that's going to become less and less of a thing. I think that's going to end up looking like a big number because Ole Miss had 8 players drafted. They originally recruited none of those guys. All 8 of those guys were transfers. I mean, from Walter Nolan down to J.J. Pegues, 1 through 8. And look, that's not to say it's a bad thing. It tells you that Lane and his people, they got it right on their transfer guys. But, I just think from a player retention perspective, it's been unquestionably positive for Alabama to this point.
Do you like the fit of where Tyler Booker and Jihad Campbell landed in the first round?
Yeah, you know, I think for Tyler, it's, you know, Zach Martin moving on, a legendary kind of interior player. So that made a lot of sense. I think for Jihad, it's also a great spot. I mean, you're going to the defending world champions. You got a couple of experienced guys in that linebacker room. Zach Bond, who they brought in last offseason, coming off just a tremendous season at linebacker. Nakobe Dean had the injury, I think, late in the season, the former Georgia standout. So, you know, that could open a door for Jihad, although I know there were some questions even about Jihad's health, I guess, going into this draft, and would he be entirely ready by the time training camp opens. So, yeah, I think for both those guys, it was good spots. And look, they're as an offensive guard and with Jihad playing linebacker in that division with the Eagles and the Cowboys, they're going to see a lot of each other, I think.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't think we've had a chance. Maybe we did, but I'm not sure we did. After 3 years, Justin Thomas back on top, wins the RBC Heritage last week. Any thoughts on that, and any level of surprise, either A, that it took him 3 years to win again, or B, that he did win again after 3 years?
It just didn't seem like it had been 3 years since that PGA win. That was the first thing that struck me, is that, wow, those 3 years went by pretty quick. But, you know, and sometimes for these guys, we forget life happens, you know, and you get married, you have kids, you know, those things play a big role into that as well, especially if you're actually legitimately interested in participating in those type of things.
Right.
Once they become formal. But, yeah, and then, you know, putting obviously is seemingly improved tremendously for JT. And that's a great golf course for him there, too, at Harbortown. It's a shot maker's golf course. You got to be able to work the golf ball, you know, flight it, move it left, move it right. We know that's right up JT's alley from a ball striking perspective, but I think the putting ultimately is what's got him back into the winner's circle. And you got Quail Hollow coming up with a PGA. He won one of those there, so seems to be lining up pretty well for him right now.
Speaking of golf, with spring and summer here, should we expect some more golf videos from you, Travis?
I want to. That's something I'm going to be shooting for sure. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, you know how, like, I don't know, athletes want to be music people, you know, and people who cover football really want to cover golf, that's kind of me.
Sure.
When it comes to golf, I've always told my wife Heather, I'd love to cover a pro golf tour. It doesn't have to be the PGA Tour. Like I'd cover the Champions, Korn Ferry, any of that. That's a bucket list sort of thing for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever check it, but yeah, I enjoy it that much.
Well, a golf video and then a chicken salad review all in the same video. I mean, that's must see, Travis. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I got to get back on the chicken salad. We were actually at a little diner down in Ponce Inlet, Florida, yesterday, the wife and I, and they had chicken salad, and I asked, "What's in the chicken salad?" at the Cracked Egg in Ponce Inlet.
Okay.
And they said just chicken and celery, and that perked me up, because I can throw some onion and tomato on there,
All right.
on some toast, and I'm good. But I didn't get the chicken. I got to get back on it.
Well,
get back on this chicken salad.
It's always great on the YouTube channel. It's always great on the Twitter feed. The Twitter feed, if you could throw in a picture of Pops in the Legend T-shirt once every couple of weeks, that's bound to draw eyeballs, Travis.
Yeah, we had just a bizarre Twitter video of Pops and that's actually a Larry Bird shirt that we got him because he was such a Bird fanatic and Larry Legend. And we were over at Easter and the girls got him to put on some high heels and walk around in them. So it was really that's the type of content that you might get from 77-year-old Pops.
Yeah, but in a fair world, somewhere out there ought to be, in a fair world, a video of Larry Bird walking around with a Pops T-shirt on. That would seem fair.
We'll have to work on that. We'll have to work on that.
I think it could happen.
We try to keep him, between the ditches, which is just insanely difficult, because the older he gets, the less he cares about anything. So
guilty. Guilty.
Yeah. Guilty.
Does Travis just speak for the vast majority of the American male population right there?
I think so. I think so. But you know what else? I'm going to get you guys some of those. I'm still going to get you guys some of those Conecuh sausage biscuits too. I know I talked about them, but I'm researching that. I'm researching that in terms of shipping, and I will get those out. So
awesome. Man, vacuum seal, I think, is where you're headed. You got to vacuum seal
vacuum
those things.
sealed, we'll dry ice them, something.
Yeah, something.
And we'll get them out.
That's
outstanding.
Right.
How do people catch all the content,
yes.
Travis? I mean, you are busy all the time doing a lot of different things at Reier on YouTube.
Yeah. You can just go to Reier on YouTube. Reier on YouTube. We have a Talking Tide that's fresh up there from last night.
Okay.
Chase Goodbrother, the Tuscaloosa News, and myself throwing around the 2025 draft where it related to the Alabama Crimson Tide, and also looking ahead to 2026. You can also catch me on Twitter or X at Travis Reier, TravisReier.
Man, Travis, as always, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Always enjoy it. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, buddy. Great stuff. Travis Reier, Reier on YouTube. Check him out. Man, Pops in the high heels.
Oh,
Man.
this is great stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Coming up in just a moment, the Phantom's Daily Dog.
Yeah, we're going to get to it. I think we can maybe squeeze it in.
And we're going to hit up Gurn Jr. for the Victoryland topic wheel in about 18 to 22 minutes.
Yeah.
As we roll on. It's our Tuesday show in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
You're not buying sticks, stems, and pine cones. You're buying premium long-diddle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River Region, full of color that will last all season long. Kenny has locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn. And no order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. Pickup is available, or your order can be delivered. They can even spread your pine straw if you like. So call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw needs.
All right, man, grab a Budweiser and take a knee. It is the best time of the year. It's baseball season. That means sunshine. It means behind-the-back peanut tosses. And it means sharing some cold, frosty Budweisers with your boys. Because there's nothing more American than watching America's game with America's beer. So let me ask you something. Are you ready to bring your A game? Are you ready to cheer every frozen rope down the line and amazing catch at the warning track? Are you ready for pitchers' duels and slugfests? Tell me, are you ready for the thrill of an incredible walk-off victory? I can't hear you. Are you ready for Budweiser and baseball? Then get on your feet, raise an ice-cold Bud, and let's make this season larger than life. Great times are waiting. Grab some Bud!
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information.
Introducing Budweiser Zero. 0% alcohol, 0 grams of sugar. Full Budweiser flavor. A refreshing alcohol-free brew that tastes like the real thing. Budweiser Zero. 0 alcohol, 0 compromise.
Okay, welcome back in. 21 minutes past the hour here on this Tuesday. Longshore and McKnight. Well, I guess, I don't know, people out there interested to see what happened in the NBA last night. That's where the Phantom went for his Phantom's Daily Dog. It was an NBA playoff game at Golden State. Not late tip, so you had to stay up late for this one. I didn't catch it all. But
it was game 4 of the first round Western Conference Series between the Rockets and the Warriors. The Warriors had a 2-1 lead over the Rockets, and they were playing in San Francisco. The number in that game was 4.
Yeah, it was.
And Houston, very rightly so, was the underdog.
Correct.
And that's where the Phantom went. He went with Houston plus the 4 last night in game 3. If you didn't watch any of that, that was intense. That was, as you know, John, one heck of a game.
It was a good one. I'm sorry I fell asleep.
From the beginning to end.
But it was a good game from the opening buzzer, opening tip, as you would say.
Yep.
Enjoyable. I guess that's why maybe the ratings are better and have improved this year in the NBA playoffs. Play harder. Yep. So, well, at the end of the day, Barry, it was the Golden State won the game. They won the game.
Houston lost. Houston lost the game. They're now down 1-3.
That is
now
correct.
They got to win. So Houston was a loser in that game, straight up.
Correct. Somewhat of a loser. But as you pointed out, Houston was receiving 4 points in the game. They were a 4-point underdog.
Yeah.
The final score, Barry, was Golden State 109, Houston 106. Yeah.
That's 3. Houston loses by 3. Houston did not lose by 4.
They did not.
They only lost by 3. So If
We
you're a very
win.
young child, you may want to ask, somebody to explain it to you in a couple of years. There's a couple of other things in a couple of years. If you're young, you're going to have people explain to you about life. That makes Houston a winner.
And they are a winner.
Really?
They are
Yes.
a winner. And really, to really care if they won straight up or not, I don't know. Maybe if you're a Rockets fan or a Warriors fan, but we're going against the spread. They cover the spread, catching 4, only lose by 3. So we got a winner in the Phantoms Daily Dog on
Boom.
Monday. Little
Yeah.
streak going here. We won on Friday. We won last night. Can we do it again tonight? Well, here's where we're going. Similar scenario here.
Okay. All right.
New York Knicks are hosting the Detroit Pistons. The Knicks are up in this series. I believe they are up 3-1 against the Pistons.
Confirmed. And they're playing at Madison Square Garden tonight.
Close
Chance
it
to wrap
out.
it up.
Could close it out tonight. But and they might close it out. But will they close it out by more than 5.5? Don't think so. Last time they played at the Garden, the Knicks won the game, played them tough. And we're looking for another output tonight from Detroit. Here again, postseason's gotten a little more physical.
Yeah.
Hey, Detroit probably played the most physical brand of basketball you could back in the day. So we're taking the Pistons plus 5.5 tonight at the Knicks. That game 6:30 on TNT. That is your Phantoms Daily Dog today. Grab the points and the Pistons.
I like it. I like it. 4 games.
Yes.
Today. 4. Bucks Pacers at 5. Pistons Knicks. Magic and the Celtics. Clippers and the Nuggets. One more NBA note.
I love the early tips too, Barry. The 5 o'clock tip, love it.
Last night, the other game, the one the Phantom didn't play in the NBA, was the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have the second best record in all of the NBA, taking on the hapless Miami Heat, who really had no business being in the postseason. They had a losing record. Cleveland led that game at Miami 43-17 after the first quarter.
Where's the defense?
Play at halftime. Let me do the numbers on halftime. Cleveland at halftime in Miami, 72-33 at halftime. Cleveland ends up winning it 138-83. They sweep. It was the most, that's a 55-point win, by the way, the most lopsided series in the history of the NBA playoffs. They won all 4 games by a total of 122 points. They scored 122 more points in the series than their opposition did. That's an NBA playoff history record for a playoff series. The previous record was 121 by the Denver Nuggets over the New Orleans Pelicans. Were they the Pelicans back in 2009?
Could have been the Hornets. Could have been the Hornets back then. Who knows?
Back in 2009.
So that's like 30-something point average a game that they won. Cleveland did.
Horrendous.
That is pretty.
Would
Glad
you
we stayed away
rather,
from that one.
This is what we call the Braves conundrum. Would you rather be in the playoffs and just get your behind handed to you in 4 straight games, losing the last one by 55 at home to end your season, or just not make the playoffs at all?
I mean,
just fall short and say,
if you're one of the players for the Heat, you turn your uniform in later this morning, then you head out to the airport, get on a plane, and go chill in the Caribbean for a couple of weeks. I mean, it's all good.
Well, okay, so there you go.
So you mentioned this, so let's go ahead and talk about it. The Atlanta Braves are taking a little trip to the worst team in Major League Baseball, the Colorado Rockies, who I think have only won 4 games so far this year, something like that.
The counting yesterday, 4 games.
4 games.
The Rockies yesterday playing at home in Denver against the suddenly resurgent Atlanta Braves, and now we're only 2 games under 500. Rockies hit a 3-run homer in the first, and I'm thinking, oh, come on. Am I going to have to listen to? But the good news for Braves fan is that was it. Braves pound out 14 hits against the Rockies, and they end up beating Colorado 6-3. Only runs scored in the ball game by the Rockies were a 3-run homer in the first. Braves win over the Rockies. More in just a moment, but
I'm a little disturbed, Barry, because I'm looking at the standings and I see they've moved to the middle of the pack here.
Yeah, they're moving upward.
Only 6.5 out of first place. So here they come. Here come all the
Harris,
people out
our
of the woodwork.
moneyline magician, he's already prophesied that. Anyway, the Braves and the Colorado Rockies meet tonight at 7:40 in Denver. Now, here's something for John. I'm probably beating him to this because he is probably armed to the teeth with this one. The Chicago White Sox last year were the worst team in Major League Baseball history. Last year, the White Sox.
Not doing very well this year either.
No, the White Sox were 41 and 121 last year, beating out the early 1962 New York Mets for the worst record in Major League Baseball history. That was last year. Yep. This year, the Rockies are on a pace to be even worse. If they continue on this pace, the Rockies will be the worst team in Major League Baseball. The record for losses in a year set by Chicago last year is 121. Rockies are on pace to lose 139. So, they are 4-24, John.
This is what I don't understand. A couple of things. How does the marketing and PR department get fans to come to the stands? Is it giveaway night? Is it 50-cent beer? Is it disco sucks night? Whatever. And then how does the manager walk into the clubhouse and say, okay, fellas, tonight's our night?
It is.
I know we're 4-24, but tonight's our night.
Even all the guys in the locker room, they're looking at him going, they know. Man, we stink. What are you doing? I guess we could ask marketing and PR director for Vanderbilt football what they do, but it'd be applicable. Now, if the Rockies maintain their current winning percentage, which is at .143, they'll reach 20 wins around mid-September.
Yeah.
The Mets have 20 wins right now. We're not even through April. But this will be, for the Rockies, their 7th straight losing season, 4th straight losing season with 90-plus losses. And if it continues, it'll be their 3rd straight season with 100-plus losses. 3 straight years losing over 100 games. That's got to be tough for the Rockies, but it still counts as a win for the Braves.
They play again today, and maybe they're going to get right by playing these crappy. I'm sure they'll play Colorado probably more than any other team this year. Seems like the schedule always works in the Braves' favor. Get the worst teams more than anybody else. I don't know. It just seems that way to me. I know they've got this formula and whatnot. 2 words that stuck in my brain. You said stink and losing.
Yes.
There are 2 subjects that fit the bill there. We'll start with losses first.
Yeah.
The UFL has lost me. And I don't know how they are even still around. I know some people will tell you it doesn't matter how many fans are in the stands. They're just there to play the game, and I want to watch it.
Wait a minute. If it wasn't for spring football, you would have spent your half of your college life the first time.
Yeah.
Living on ramen noodles and hamburger helper without the hamburger and, waiting for, the free lentil soup they give out in the quad.
Yeah, that is true.
It was good to you.
I'm really talking about it from there again, the attendance at USFL games was a heck of a lot better than what I'm seeing in the UFL. And in terms of wagering on it, I don't have a problem with that. I'm looking forward to being able to wager on it legally regulated here in the state of Alabama.
Here we go.
You hear me out there?
Here we go.
Barry, I don't get it. I mean, there is nobody at these games. The Stallions played a game last Friday night, I believe, in Birmingham. I don't think 500 people were there. I don't get it. How? And I know Fox has put a lot of money into this. ESPN's put a lot of money into it. I got to give these broadcasters kudos. They're trying to make something that is nothing worthy and exciting. And, you got to be here. But it's embarrassing when you see these games and there are 0 people there. I mean, is it COVID in these towns?
You got our buddy. We're rooting for them. Honestly, pure heart, we are rooting for them. But you see Luke's down there, and this is one of the great things about their TV coverage is when a coach goes for it on 4th down and doesn't get it, Luke's is right there in on him and says, "Hey, coach, what went into that decision to go forward on 4th down, and why did you not get it?" Right? I like that.
Yeah, sure.
But these days at the UFL games, he's over there and he's saying, "Coach, why did you go for it on 4th down, and why didn't you get it?" And you can hear the guy from the stand saying, "It's because the offensive line." So they can actually hear him asking the question of the coach in the front row of the stands because it's so quiet in there. Unbelievable.
I don't get it. I don't know what there again. I don't know what production cost for Fox and ESPN. It can't be a lot. Yeah. But I mean, they've got some guys, Luganville, they've got Joel Klatt. I mean, they got some people that you recognize. But I'm thinking, y'all are trying to sell this, and I'm not buying it. It just, they're losing me. I don't know. Maybe, the USFL had players you knew. They had marquee players. I mean, Herschel Walker, Jim Kelly.
Doug Flutie.
Yeah, they had people that
Anthony Carter for the Michigan Panthers. You had Steve Young for the LA Express. You're exactly right.
So, you had players you knew. You don't know any of these people. So I don't understand that one.
Yeah.
In terms of stink.
If
you leave a mullet on the beach for a long period of time, it's going to start smelling. The reason I bring that up, Barry, I saw over the weekend, it was the annual mullet toss at the Floribama. For some reason, we're not able to put Facebook pictures on the screen. We can put every other picture, but for some reason, we can't put that up. But I'm wondering, were there any Auburn players invited to the mullet toss? Because I'm looking at pictures of some current Alabama players, Ryan Williams being one of them. I'm not real familiar with who the other ones are. Maybe someone can help us out if they go to Facebook and type in Floribama, and you can see these pictures of these players. I recognize Ryan Williams, but as Ryan
Williams was at Talladega.
This was on Saturday. I guess he went to Talladega on Sunday.
Yeah. How about that? Because he wanted the number 2 car to win. He had a video saying he wanted number 2 car to win because that was his number.
Yeah.
How about that?
So, and then I saw him out on a boat. Hadn't there been some other Alabama players that went out on a boat?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was a fishing boat. Julio and Mark Ingram and the like. But anyway, I just wondered, does the guy that owns the Floribama or what's going on here? I'd like to see some Auburn players participate in the mullet toss.
I wonder about that. I got this. This is what we're talking about. That is the mullet toss right there. Can you
that might be the beach jam. That might be the concert they have later on.
Oh, they've got a concert too?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like beach jam.
I thought it was always like the park band or somebody like that. But how about that?
Look,
they got it going on there.
I've never been to the mullet toss. Don't care to go. Been to the Floribama multiple times. It's Snake Stabler used to throw a mullet. I just Barry, you know me. I'm looking for equal opportunities here. I just want to know why the Auburn players aren't represented at the mullet toss. You'd think they'd have a few down there. I think it'd be a good deal. Hey, Alabama-Auburn mullet toss competition. Just now, I know what people are saying. They don't have any players good enough. Just check the draft. Whatever.
Whoa. They don't have players good enough to appear at the Floribama. Have you seen some of the people who are at the Floribama? They're barely people.
Throwing out ideas. Just throwing out ideas.
Wait a minute. They don't measure up to the humanity needed to be at the mullet toss.
I'm looking. Does anybody out there know? That's all I'm asking. I mean, second year in a row, I'm seeing all these pictures of Alabama players throwing fish. When we interviewed Kalen DeBoer at Media Days in Dallas last summer, I always like to, throw out one that kind of gets them smiling, a little different than the normal question.
Oh, yeah, right.
And I said, what'd you think about heading down to the mullet toss? Because DeBoer was there last year with Nate Oates and Jalen Milroe. And he went on about, it was great, beautiful area. Didn't realize Alabama had that much coastline, all that type of stuff. I said, well, how did Jalen throw that fish? He says, well, he throws the football a lot better. I still can't figure out, Barry. Somebody told me you put the key is to grab the fish by the gills and you throw it and you kind of attach your finger to the gill so the fish will. Now, I cannot believe some human rights group hadn't gone down there and said, whoa. Now, are these fish already dead? I would think so. I don't think you're going to throw them.
They're not live fish. Yeah, they're not live mullet being thrown.
They're not live mullet. And who wants a mullet anyway? I mean, come on.
Hey,
mullet.
Listen, I have caught, I have fished for, and I have caught more than my fair share of mullet in my lifetime. I love me some mullet now.
Woo,
that's
I'm gonna
good
let you
stuff.
have that. I thought they called that trash fish.
Well, there's some other ones out there. Love me some mullet. Ain't nothing wrong with the mullet. Ain't nothing wrong with the Victoryland topic wheel coming up in just a moment. Our guy, Gurn Jr., who rides herd over this program, has been busy working on some topics. That's coming up next on Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Okay, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you are with us. Before we get to the Victoryland 777 topic, Mal has chimed in to make me feel a little better. I see you working, Mal.
John, when the Braves were 0-8, the Mets were 5 games ahead. I don't know why I can't get it to stay. The Mets were 5 games ahead of the Braves. The Braves are now 6.5 back. Meanwhile, the Dodgers are in first, and Ohtani and Freeman are starting to warm up. Yeah, those are the two of the hugest payrolls.
Yeah.
Out
So,
there.
Barry, I believe the Dodgers come to Atlanta this weekend. I was watching Cowherd during lunch yesterday. They were promoting Saturday game of the week. I went, really? People still watch that? I thought they can.
What?
Anyway,
That's
Braves
huge.
at
Yeah.
Dodgers at Braves Saturday night on Fox. I might have to watch a little bit of that. Only if the score's in my favor.
I like them both. I mean, my Vin Scully Dodgers thing is always beside me here. That should be huge. The series will actually start on Friday night up at Truist Park.
Yeah.
Here's what I don't want to see, and I like them both. 6:15 Central Time. Please don't let the Dodgers fans outnumber you. Braves fans, please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Because I've been a Dodgers fan ever since my youth, when I used to go to their spring training games down where I grew up. There's a lot of people who are Dodgers fans now because they're like their gang colors or something, and also because they've gotten good again. Don't let them. Don't let fans like that outdraw the steadfast, loyal Braves consumers who have been there ever since the Biff Pocoroba and Glenn Hubbard and Ken Oberkfell
mentioned it, man. Just said it. Because they got good again. Now, for the Braves, that they never were good. They just finally got good in the late 80s, early 90s, something like
early
that.
90s. Late 80s, they were terrible.
So they
even
finally
like about
got
90s,
good.
they were terrible.
And all these people became Braves fans coming out of the woodwork. I'm thinking, wait a minute. Where'd you come from? What do you mean Braves?
It's true.
And so finally got good.
All right.
We'll see how that plays out.
All right, Mel, we appreciate that. Yeah, the Braves are better. The Braves are a lot better. And yeah, the deficit in the National League East has gotten larger. That's because, just like Leon, that's because the Mets have the best record in Major League Baseball.
And Mal points out that the Dodgers have already swept the Braves this year, which was nice. Robbie wants to clear something up.
Yeah, nobody remembers, Robbie. Nobody remembers that from yesterday. Robbie says, let me clear things up. I said Bob from Pike Road was clueless about Will Howard being drafted by the Steelers. He threw for 4,010 yards and 35 TDs last year at Ohio State. He looked through crimson glasses. Nobody remembers that, Robbie. Let it go.
Yeah, let it go, Robbie.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's time to move on. I'd
like
some Braves. I'd like your opinion on the Braves, if you don't mind, Robbie. That's what I really want to hear.
Gurn Junior's Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Let's hit it. Let's go.
Spin the wheel where it stops. Nobody knows. Victoryland 777. You could be a winner too, and it's going to land on promotion. Promotion. What do we got here?
Oh, Wrexham in the English Premiership has promoted, close to being into the Premiership. Wrexham, this is what John thinks ought to happen with some college football programs, is if you're not any good, you move down. Well, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney have they've got a great series. If you've never seen their series about Wrexham, it's a team they own in the English hockey and the English soccer leagues, English football. And they keep getting better since they've owned them. And they keep getting better and they keep moving up. They are close. It's their third promotion in 3 seasons. Every year they've been getting better and better and better. They've been moving up from, I don't even know what they call them, the Scrub League to the Mighty Mites to the Cub Leagues, and then pretty soon to the Premiership, which is the big one, which is Arsenal and Chelsea and Leicester and all those. So, Crystal Palace. So they're getting better. They're getting better. This is exciting for those of you who think soccer is exciting. For those of you who don't,
yeah, that's me. Yeah. So wait a minute. You did pique my interest though, Barry.
yes.
If you're not any good, they kind of kick you out. I like that.
They don't kick you out.
I kind of like
just kick
that.
you down. They're right now in what's called Football League One.
Yeah.
Which, if John hadn't thought about it in these terms because he doesn't watch English Premiership, but if John thought about it in these terms, you'd probably have at the bottom like Football League 4. Sam Houston State, Abilene Christian, Mercer.
Yeah.
Football League 3 would be, the group of 5.
So then
Football League 2 would be the scrub Power 4s, and the College Football Premiership. We all know who those would be. That's how John would like to. And, who knows? Maybe Sam Houston State all of a sudden gets good. They move up into college football.
I know there's an Abilene
and then maybe
Christian.
College football too.
Isn't there some school out in Texas, something Baptist?
Houston Baptist.
Yeah, I knew there was something out there. Yeah, throw them in there with Abilene Christian and some of those other ones. Yeah, no doubt. I like that. The Premier League,
which is fun. Which is fun for a school, a franchise like Wrexham, because they've moved up 3 different levels. They're now in Football League 1 when they were back in like Football League 26 a couple of years ago. But they move up, and man, if they get into the Premiership, then that Netflix series or whatever it is going to be blowing up. But John, if you're in John Longshore's college football premiership, that's great. That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But if you start sucking,
okay, I like it.
Boom, you're back down. I don't know if John thinks anybody else will be worthy of moving up, because there's only about 6 teams that really belong. And according to John, it doesn't really matter how good you are, but you may have a chance to move up.
So based on that model,
but you can definitely move down.
Based on that model, over the last 7-8 years, where would Auburn football be?
They'd be in Football League 1 right now, because you've got like the top 16, or whatever. You would have 16. Only reason why I'm saying that is because that's where the college football playoff model is going towards. And Auburn, let's just face it, they're not a top 16 program right now. And then after that, you'd have maybe the next 16. That's the question you ought to be asking, John. Well, no, he did ask it this way. John says, where is Auburn?
Based on
Auburn
the last
be
7
in
or
that
8 years?
Second 16. They would be in that third 16, along with Purdue.
I mean, did you see how many draft picks Mississippi State and Vanderbilt and South Carolina had? Those are the only 3 schools that were below Auburn.
I'm telling you, and Gurn knows this, and bless him for being patient, but he could put on the topic wheel the Czech Republic, and John and I could riff for about 10 minutes on, and it'll end up being something about Auburn. So yeah, we need to move forward. Yeah. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll hit the Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel again on Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. Riverbank and Trust.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, Schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
All right, back at it here on the Tuesday show, Longshore and McKnight. Let's get that Victoryland 777 topic wheel ready to go. Yeah, sometimes I get off on little tangents. It is amazing how it comes back to Auburn. I don't know how that happens. It's amazing.
It's weird.
Yeah. All right, let's spin the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Exit 22 off I-85 Shorter, Alabama, open 24/7. And we're going to go with the Troy Trojans today. What's on the docket for Troy?
Troy tonight, the latest polls are out. Troy's ranked in all of them. They're number 20 in D1 baseball. They will host Jacksonville State tonight. It's Military Appreciation Night. If you're a member of the military, you get in. A member of the active military, retired, or in the reserves or whatever, you can get in just by showing your military ID. At the game tonight starts at 6 o'clock. Then 3 games this weekend on the road, starting on Friday at South Alabama. The Troy men's golf team tomorrow, the NCAA men's golf postseason, the tournament or whatever. The March Madness for golf, for men's golf, will be announced tomorrow. Troy is going to be in there. Clay Bounds just named yesterday Sunbelt Men's Golf Coach of the Year. Going to be a big watch party for that tomorrow night at Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Troy. So check that out as well.
Fantastic. Good stuff there. Awesome. All right, Gurn, let's spin the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. 4 more topics on the wheel. Where it lands, let's check it out. It looks like it's going to be emotionless. That was me during the kick 6. Okay, what do we got?
Oh, let's see. Emotionless, Shedeur Sanders. I thought
is that a golf clap?
That
is the Browns' war room after drafting Shedeur Sanders.
Ooh, we got our guy.
Who's this guy on the right over here?
Yeah.
He's going, I told you guys we didn't really want him.
Well, Kevin Stefanski is the guy on the left. He's the head coach. Andrew Berry, who has a fantastic last name, he is, I think,
spelled with an E or an A?
An E, yeah. He's the GM. ESPN draft showed that. Run that again if you can, Gurn. Brown select quarterback Shedeur Sanders, 144th overall, and they both were like,
yay. You know, Barry, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's been a long draft. You know, they've been working hard for 3 days, long hours, probably a little tired. You know,
well, here's what the GM, Matthew Berry, or Andrew Berry, he said, I think we were probably just tired from the weekend.
Yeah, see.
Stefanski, the head coach, says, when they show those clips, it's not timed up to exactly the right time. So don't read too much into that. Because I've seen that before on the March Madness selection show when they say, now in at the 15th seed, the Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers. And they're all just sitting there and everything. And like 45 seconds later, then they all jump up because it's delayed, right?
Yeah, little
so that's
delay.
all it was. They were tremendously excited. They were over the moon about
come on.
drafting Shedeur Sanders.
Sell them short.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good guess.
Let's spin it again. Yeah, it's a good one. Let's spin it again, see what we got here on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. 3 more to go. 3 fabulous colors. Hit stick. Hit
stick.
Oh.
Uh-oh. This is bound to be good.
Yeah.
Big boom. Talk about
Oh, nice.
Then the puck goes back.
Does it matter? I think it's the Canadians.
Vulnerable situation there, getting back to the bench. But Duhaime.
Does it even matter? The
beautiful.
Team? Does it even matter the situation? Does it even matter the sport? When they're doing this?
Yeah. I mean, is that a high stick? What is a high stick penalty?
The high stick is when you like chop somebody in the face with it. Your sticks have got to stay down.
You know what, Barry? A good friend of mine grew up playing lacrosse. And from what I understand, if you've got the ball in that little crab basket, that little crab net thing they use, you're free game. I mean, they're basically, you can hit them with anything.
This summer, I have a contact. He's an assistant coach with Denver University, the Pioneers, which is a great lacrosse program. We might get him on, talk a little lacrosse. Because I think you can just whack him whenever you feel like it, you know?
Sure. Yeah,
I mean,
beautiful.
The funny thing is you got that big old huge helmet with that big old huge cage, but you wear shorts.
Nothing else.
I'm whacking somebody in the shins every chance I get. Forget about hitting them in the head. I'm whack, whack, whack.
If you ever tried to throw and catch one of those things, I mean, there's an art to it.
Yeah, there is.
You don't pick it up and just throw it. I mean, you got to know what you're doing.
I mean, some of those guys can put it right exactly where they want to, you know, when they're passing it and everything. Other guys look like Jalen Milroe.
Oh, wow. All right, Gurn, spin it.
One more.
Let's see what we got. See if we can get this thing going here. I don't know if I can leave them hanging. Where will it go? It's going to be blue, which is 55. 55. Sammy Hagar.
Yeah. We talked about this. 55-point win for the Cavs to sweep the Heat. Most lopsided series in NBA playoff history. They win all four by a total of 122 points.
That's amazing. Over 30-point
average.
Want
to play. They didn't want to be there.
No.
They were ready to head to the house.
Cleveland must be pretty good. I'm with you, Barry.
They are.
Yeah. All right, let's try to get that last one in before we slide out of here, Gurn, just to make it official. What do we got here?
We got
spin it real quick, and it's going to land on tripping.
Tripping is what Smokey said that Ice Cube was doing when he said that girl he wanted to hook him up with looked like Janet Jackson.
No, that's
said you look more like Freddie Jackson.
Not tripping. That's trip in.
Oh, that's with a G at the end. Sorry, you're right.
Trip in. What do we got here? Lakers.
All right. This
is
Luka Doncic. They say they were running a play. They say he got JJ Redick is saying he got tripped.
Well, I think he said something else besides tripped.
He got bleeping tripped. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Let's take
a look. No. Heck,
please. He's just
Lakers are just crybabies. They're old and they're getting schooled by a lot of the. I'm gonna tell you, watch out for the T-Wolves. They're pretty good.
I'm with
watch
you.
Out
love the Ant-Man. Yeah. Okay.
All right, tomorrow, our man CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, will join us here on the program. A lot more to get to as well. Man, great day with some great guests today.
And some good content. We thoroughly enjoyed it. We hope you did as well. For our guest, Bryan Matthews, AuburnSports.com, and Reier on YouTube. That's Travis Reier and our producer, Gurn Jr. John Longshore, Barry McKnight. In association with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.